And welcome to our November webinar. It is the last webinar in a series of webinars that we have hosted by Google, designed specifically for our travel agent audience. I'm Joanne Tralagan, I'm the marketing manager here at AFTA, and I'm really pleased that you could join us, especially as we head towards Christmas and we get extremely busy. So as you can see, we've now in the 5th webinar in the series, and what we hope to do in the new year is actually host a workshop at Google head office where we'll invite you to come along, and it'll be a little bit more, I guess, tactical, a little bit more in detail about how we can take this knowledge and actually put it into practice and put you in contact with someone that can actually bring it to life in your business. As usual, the sessions are recorded, and that's for your benefit. They'll be loaded onto the AFTA website and available from the point they're loaded until end of time, really. We like to keep them on so that you can go on and refresh yourself at any time convenient. Again, you're on mute, but you do have a question and answer box. So feel free to pop questions in that toolbox, and we will attempt to answer them at the end of the webinar. So now I'm really pleased to hand you over to Lakshmi, who is an account manager at Google. Lakshmi delivered our webinar a fortnight ago and is here to deliver today's webinar, and we're really pleased to have you back.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. So like Joe mentioned, in our last series, we covered Google Ads platforms. Today we'll discuss more about different metrics and reports available to assess the success of your business. So just a quick disclaimer here, for those who do not have Adwords account, it might seem a bit technical, but the concept is very simple and easy to understand. So let me start off with goals. So different businesses have different goals. But we have categorized them broadly under 3 buckets: traffic, action on a website, and awareness. So your goal could just be getting more and more users to your website, or you would want them to take some action on your site, such as purchasing products, form fill-up, requesting quote, etc. Or you might just want people to be aware of your products and services as well. So which is awareness. So for most of us in the webinar today, I am assuming that our goal is to get users to take an action after visiting the website. So it's very important to understand these goals and connect them with the most relevant metrics, and this will help you assess the success of the campaigns that you have running right now. So let's discuss the first goal, which is measuring traffic. This is how an Adwords interface looks like. So if you see the data in the red box, that is the impressions. So impression means how many times your ads have shown up. So in the example, the campaigns ad have shown up about 1.3 million times. In the blue box, we have clicks, which means how many times users clicked on the ad. So we have got around 7,400 clicks for that campaign. The data in the green box is CTR, which is click-through rate. So it's a ratio of the clicks by impressions. So that's, for example, if your ad showed up 100 times and users clicked on it 20 times, so it'll be 20 by 100. So click-through rate is an important metric because it will tell you how useful your consumers are finding your ads, how relevant are they finding your ads. And generally in search campaigns, we see that click-through rate of 1 or higher than 1% is good. So in this campaign, if you see that the CTR is less than 1%, so which means the ads may not be that relevant. So we need to find out, do we have the right keywords in the account? Are our ads relevant? Are we talking about the right products and services to give useful information to the users right from the ads? And then the last metric that we have is cost per click. So that is the amount that you would pay when someone clicks on the ad. So this is also again another important metric. You might just want to see if any particular keyword is costing you really high and is not getting you enough clicks. So for example, in this campaign, you will see that there is one keyword which has costed around 42 cents, whereas there's another keyword which has costed around 10 cents. So you might just want to see, okay, which one is a relevant keyword? Does it even make sense for me to spend 42 cents for this particular keyword? Moving on to our second goal, which is actions on our website. So I've just taken an example of AFTA website here. So as a business, AFTA may want users to come to the website and take some action. And the action could be anything. So applying for membership or contacting them. Or it could also be registering, let's say, for this webinar. And all of these actions can be tracked in Adwords using a free tool called Adwords Conversion Tracking. So it shows you what happens after a customer clicks on your ad. It's very simple. All you need to do is generate a piece of code from Adwords account and add it to the website. It's as simple as that. So you can track purchases, form submissions, phone calls, app downloads, any action on the website. After you add the code on the website, and that's when you see more data in the Adwords account. So apart from the other metrics that we discussed earlier, like impressions, clicks, click-through rate, you will have data around these actions as well in the form of conversions. So the data that you see in the red box here for conversions is nothing but the number of actions which users have taken on the website. So let's say, going back to the same example, if after we're tracking the number of registrations, then in that case, this number 1,169 would represent the number of registrations received after users visited on the AFTA website. Similarly, we have the conversion rate. So conversion rate is the measure of how many users registered out of the people who clicked onto the website. So let's say, again, the same example, if 100 people visited your website and 20 people registered, so 20 divided by 100 is the conversion rate ratio. So the way we discussed about click-through rate earlier, conversion rate is also an important metric because it will give you an idea about how relevant your landing page is. So you have managed to get your audience from the ad to the landing page. So now if your conversion rate is low, so that means there is something wrong in the ad or in the landing page. So you do not have the relevant, either you do not have the relevant content on the landing page, or whatever unique selling points or messages that you had highlighted in the ad is not available on the website, and that's why users may not be converting. So if you see a very low conversion rate, then in that case, it is an indicator that you might need to go back and check your keywords, ads, and landing page again. So we can also drill this data down to the keyword level. So if you guys remember, in our last session, we discussed that keywords are the terms on which we bid. So these are the terms which users search for, and we bid on these terms to show our ads. So let's say in this example, we have pre-wedding photography, which is the first keyword, which has a really good click-through rate of 2.7%. So that means users are finding this keyword very relevant. But again, if I look at other keywords like candid wedding photographer, pre-wedding photography, so all of them have click-through rate lower than 1%, then in that case, I might want to go back and check how is my ad. Are my ads appearing on good position or not? So why aren't users clicking on my ad, and why is my click-through rate low? So this is just a percentage, but this will trigger a series of thoughts. So it will question, okay, where is my ad appearing? If it's appearing on low position, is it because of low bids, or is it because of low quality of ads? And same is the case with the search terms report. So just to avoid confusion here, so in the previous slide, we discussed about keywords. Those are the terms you are bidding on, whereas search terms are the exact terms which users type on google.com. You may have those terms, you may not have those terms in your account, but due to broad match, your ads may show up for these terms. So if you guys have Adwords account and if you go to the search terms report tab, you will see all the exact terms users typed in google.com. And this is one of the most important reports that we have, and we as account managers, we keep checking this regularly to filter out all the relevant and irrelevant terms. So let's say in this example, if my business doesn't cater to model photos or modeling photo, then in that case it's an irrelevant term for me, and I have showed my ads around 3,000, 6,000 times for that particular term. So I might want to add models or modeling photos as negatives in my campaign, just to avoid impressions for those terms and just to avoid spending on those irrelevant terms as well. Quality score, this is another metric that we discussed in length in our last series. It tells us how relevant your keyword is to the ad, to the landing page. So it also decides if your ad is eligible to show or not. If yes, which position it will show on. So in the Adwords account, you will have an option to see the score for every keyword. It's rated from 1 to 10. And ideally, quality score above 5 is considered to be good. If the quality score is low, the system would give you an indicator saying that, okay, this keyword is hardly triggering any ad because it has low quality score. And if you just hover over the speech bubble, it'll give you the details as well. So as you can see in the example here, the quality score is terrible. It's just 2 out of 10. Now, if you want to know why is it so low, the system says it's because of landing page experience. So it's below average. So the next thing which I would immediately check is the landing page. So is my landing page talking about wedding photography or not? So if it's talking about some other type of photography, then I might want to develop a page which talks only about wedding photographer, wedding photography, and link this particular keyword to that landing page. So we have created our ads, it's up and running. The next step is to find out how it is performing. So the metrics that you would see for this is also similar, impression, clicks, CTR. But how I would check the performance is, let's say in the 2 ads that you see on the screen right now, one of the ads just talks about capturing photos with love. Whereas the second one, it talks about package as well. Packages start from 50K. So if I want to see, okay, which of these 2 ads resonate with the audience well, so I see that the one which says packaging starts from 50K has higher click-through rate. It's around 0.5%. In this case, there's not much difference, but you will see a stark difference in real campaigns. This is just a demo account that I have used. So when you look at your account, when you look at your campaigns and ads, you will see stark difference between the ad performance. So let's say in this case, if the ad which says packages starting from 50K has higher click-through rate or is getting higher conversions or sign-ups, then in that case, I might want to pause the first one and keep the second one only active, or maybe test different variations which talks about packages. So coming to device performance, this data will give you an idea about how your campaign is performing across devices, on computers versus mobile versus tablet. So let's say if your business is heavily dependent on mobile, if you get a lot of business through mobile phone, through calls, then in that case, you might want to check the performance on mobile. How is the click-through rate? How is the sign-up? How many calls have you received from mobile devices? And adjust bids accordingly on mobile devices. So in this example, you will see that mobile has higher click-through rate. It's 0.6% versus 0.5% for computer. And the CPC, the cost that you are paying per click on mobile, is also cheaper on mobile. So it's 8 cents on mobile versus 12 cents on computer. So better performance on mobile versus computer and cheaper as well. So in such scenarios, if you clearly see that mobile is performing well, then it makes sense to have a mobile specific strategy by having mobile competitive bids. Location performance, so this is all about checking where most of your users are coming from. So this is just an example from one of the campaigns targeting India. And here you will see that there are a lot of regions which I have not included, but among all the regions, the first region, which is Maharashtra, has the highest click-through rate. And if I know that this region is a high priority region for me, from where I get a lot of my customers, from where I get a lot of leads or purchases, then in that case, I would use this data to focus only on this location. I might have a separate campaign targeting Maharashtra only, or I might have target this location in the same campaign, but prioritize by increasing the bids, adding a bid modifier for this particular location, and have lower bids for the other locations. This is also fairly simple. The Adwords account will also give you data around how your campaign has performed during different days of the week and different hours of the day. So let's say as a business, if you see that, okay, most of your bookings happen between Monday to Wednesday and between 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Then in that case, you could choose to show your ads only between Monday to Friday, only between 9 a.m. to 12 noon, or you could choose to show 24/7, but prioritize these days and these hours by increasing your bids. So just taking this example here, so we see that Sunday has the highest click-through rate. Sunday also gets a decent amount of traffic among all the other days. So then in that case, I would consider Sunday as the important business day for me, and I have a separate plan for this day versus other days of my week. Impression share, this is an interesting data if you would like to know what opportunity you have captured already and what opportunity is available for you guys. So impression share is the percentage of impressions that your ads receive compared to the total number of impressions that your ads could get. So let's say if your ad could have appeared 100 times, but it appeared only 20 times, then your impression share would be 20 by 100, which is 20%. So now the next question is, what happened to the remaining 80% opportunity that you had? So why did you lose out on those 80%? Did you have low bids or low budget? So the impression share report that you have in the account will give you this information. So if you look at this example here, search loss due to rank in the red box is 73%. So that means that this campaign has been losing out on auctions mainly due to ad quality and bids. So their position, even if their position has been really low, and at the same time, so they have not been competitive enough to win most of the auctions. The other one is search loss due to budget, where we see 16% loss. So this is very simple. So there was not enough budget for the campaigns to show the ad, so that's why they lost this opportunity. So when you go back and look at your campaigns, and if you see that, okay, so you only have 10% impression share, but there is opportunity to increase more through budget or through rank, you could choose to work on either of these metrics or both of them. So now I want to know how I'm performing versus my competitors. So this data will be provided by the report in Adwords account called Auction Insights. It lets you compare your performance with other advertisers who are also participating in the same auctions that you are. So I'll just explain the metrics here. Impression share, so you are aware of that. Overlap rate. Overlap rate in the blue box, it means that what percentage of times did you and your competitors' ad appeared at the same time. So for example, ask.com and my website, ads for both these businesses, they appeared overlapped for 35%. Similarly, we have position above rate. So it means that what percentage of times did your competitor's ad appear above your ad. So in this example, you will see almost 50% of the time ask.com's ad was appearing above my ad. Another good indicator would be top of page rate. So it says what percentage of time did these advertisers show on top page. So for my website, it's clearly terrible. My average position is just 3.9, whereas my competitors, they are at 2.8. Photo face is also at 3.9. So this will indicate that, okay, so my competitors are doing well in terms of impression share. They are appearing on good position as well. They are also competing in the same terms where my ads are appearing. So I might want to improve my impression share. I might want to improve my average position. Coming back to the third goal that we had, which is brand activity. Every ad, whether it's search, display, or video, it helps in generating awareness about your products or services. But here we will talk specifically about YouTube skippable campaigns, where users can choose to skip videos. So apart from the regular metrics like impressions and click-through rates, clicks, so you have additional metrics for brand campaigns, which is views and view rate. So views, the data that you see in the blue box is nothing but it's the number of times your video ad was viewed for 30 seconds. And if your video ad was less than 30 seconds, then the user should have watched the entire video. View rate is again a measure of how compelling your video is. Higher view-through rate, that means your video was more engaging, was more compelling, so users chose to watch the video and not skip it. And the last one is CPV, which is cost per view, so that is the amount that you're paying for a user to watch the video. So if you have different campaigns, if you have different creatives, it will give you an idea which creative has higher view rate, which creative has higher CPV, and you can take decisions accordingly. You can activate, you can pause, make changes accordingly. I'm not sure if you guys have heard about brand lift survey. So Google brand lift is another tool through which you can measure the effectiveness of your brand campaign. So it tells you after the video campaigns was launched, what was the uplift in brand awareness? What was the uplift in consideration? Did users even consider purchasing your products after seeing your brand ad? So, sorry. So as you can see in the first section where we say what we report, on the left-hand side you will see 5 metrics: ad recall, brand awareness, consideration, favorability, and purchase intent. So these are survey-based results. So that means when a user sees a video, they will be served a survey and they will answer the question if they recalled seeing your ad or not, if they consider purchasing your product or services or not. So that is completely survey-based. On the right-hand side, you will see brand interest. What brand interest does is it analyzes the organic searches on google.com and youtube.com. So after seeing your video ad, did I go to google.com and search for your brand term? Did I go to youtube.com and search for your brand term? So it tries to see that uplift in the brand term. So the difference, just to repeat again, the difference between the two is the one on the left is survey-based, and the second one is the search-based activity on google.com and youtube.com. So I love this report because it gives you more details around your demographic. Which demographic resonated well with your creative? Was it 18 to 24 or 35 to 44 who could recall your ad more, who considered purchasing your services more? It also gives you details around which creative worked well if you had more than one creative. It also gives you more data around device. Did people recall your ad when they saw on mobile devices versus desktop devices? And so from my experience, like from all my clients who have done their brand activity, so they always link brand lift survey because it's a free survey tool which will give you additional information about your brand campaign. So this example will make it slightly clear for you. So if you look at the screen towards the left-hand side, you will see a small ad, skippable ad for Chrome. So as a user, I see the ad and I get the survey. I'll not get the survey at the same instance when I see the ad. So after a couple of days, I will get the survey, which will ask me, which of the following have you seen online video advertising for recently? So it will have the advertiser name and the competitor names as well. So it depends on who I select as my answer. And after that, the system analyzes the result, and towards the extreme right-hand corner, you will see the result that, okay, after users who saw the video ad, they saw 30% lift in ad recall. They were able to recall my ad more versus people who did not see my ad. And same is the case with awareness and consideration. So this is another example for Burberry. So let's say Burberry had a Lightbox ad campaign, a brand campaign. And as a user, after I saw the ad, I went to google.com and searched for Burberry. So what the system does is it analyzes this uplift and it shows me that after the launch of the video campaign, the brand interest on the keyword grew by 8% or 10%. So if we discuss about the methodology here, how the system works, this uplift is it divides the target audience. So let's say your target audience is male between 25 to 54. It divides your target audience into two groups. One is exposed and the other is control. So the control group will not see the ad, whereas the exposed group will see the ad. But when it comes, when the time comes to send the survey is shared with both the sets of audiences. And based on what these two groups respond, the uplift is measured. And it generally takes about 7 to 14 days to gather these results. So it's very fast, it's free, you don't need to add any tag as well. So it's just a tagless implementation that you can do in the Adwords account. Okay, so just to do a quick recap before we move on to the analytics section. So all the reports that we discussed right now were the Adwords report. So starting from impressions, clicks, daily report, location report, search terms, keyword. So you will see all these data in your Adwords account at a very broad level, which is at the campaign level, or as granular as keyword level as well. And you can use this data to make your business decisions and optimize your campaigns accordingly. So coming to Google Analytics, Google Analytics is another free tool from Google, and it will give you more detailed statistics about your website traffic and traffic sources. It will also give you data around conversions, sales, conversion value. So where are most of the users coming from? What percentage is new versus returning? How much time are these users spending on your website? Which page are they bouncing from? So these are some of the stats which you may not find in the Adwords account. So that's why having an analytics account helps. And I would definitely recommend linking your analytics account with the Adwords account so that you can pass on this information to Adwords account and optimize the campaigns accordingly. So the analytics tool has a lot of data. It has a lot of reports. So it's very easy to get confused. So ideally, we would bucket these reports under 4 categories. The first one would be who, so which will define who your audience is. You will know more about your audience behavior. Second is what, so what do they do on their website. Third one is how, which is the acquisition report. How do they come to your website? Which sources do they use to come to your website? And the last one is the conversion report, which says what value do they generate when they can come to your website or when they visit your website. So if you keep these 4 categories in mind, you'll be able to navigate through the different reports in the interface easily. So moving on to the who section of the report, which is the audience report. So as we discussed earlier, so this talks about who your target audience is. What is their demographic? Are they male? Are they female? Where are they from? Which location are they from? So we'll see a few more examples here. So this is the demographic reports under the audience section. So in this example, you will see that most of the audience, which is 70% of the audience for this website, is male. And they are within the age range of 18 to 34. So how most advertisers use this data is that, okay, so if most of my audience is male within this particular age range, then do I have my content which resonates with this audience? Do I have any specific strategy with this audience? Do I have a specific budget, a separate budget for this audience? So this is how you can use this data to modify your advertising campaigns. It also tells you what are the interests of these users who visit your website. Are they movie lovers or TV lovers or political news junkies? So you could use this data to target these users wherever they go in the online space. So let's say if you know that they are movie lovers, so you could choose to show your ads on movie related content or TV related content and just try to influence their consideration. This is similar to what we saw in the Adwords geo report. It shows which location, from which location have most of your visitors been coming from and how have they been performing. So let's say people who have come from NSW versus Victoria. How have they been performing? People coming from NSW, have they been bouncing off more compared to Victoria? Have they been spending more time on the website compared to people who visit your website from Victoria? So based on that, again, so you could prioritize the geolocations. So let's say you could use it in two ways. So if you see that people from NSW, so they have been spending a lot more time on the website and they have been generating a lot more sales or have been performing a lot more actions on your website, then in that case you might want to prioritize NSW. But let's say Victoria is also your equally important market, but you see that audiences have been bouncing off from your website, then in that case you might just want to see if your website is relevant enough for the Victoria audience, or else what else can you do to make it more relevant for them. New versus returning visitors. This is again another very common report which most advertisers use. So in this case you will see that 20% of the visitors, they are returning. So you will also get to see how do these two sets of audiences perform. So the metrics that you would see again is the same. So how much time does new visitor spend on your website versus returning visitor? Do they bounce off early compared to the new visitors? So if you see that returning visitors have been spending a lot more time on your website, they have been purchasing or they have been performing the actions that you wanted them to take on the website, then in that case you might want to have a strong remarketing strategy, especially in travel industry when users need multiple interactions with a business to convert. So new visitors is good, but if you can get them to the website back again through a remarketing strategy, then in that case you can encourage them to convert. Just taking a water break. So coming to acquisition report, so as the name suggests, it shows how have users landed on your website. So have they come from organic search, or did they land from paid search, or did they type in your business address directly in the browser and land on your website? So with this data, you will get to know how is your paid platform performing versus organic or versus direct. And it will tell you if it is even worth investing on paid media or not. In few cases, you might also see that, okay, so people who visit your website from, let's say, Google CPC or maybe through any paid search media, so they have been converting more, or they have been purchasing, they have been filling up the form more or requesting for a quote more. That is an indicator that paid platform is working for you and you might want to invest more. But at the same time, if you see that it's paid media isn't working, then in that case you might have to drill down and see, okay, which is that platform which is not functioning well. So you can drill down to the referral page level as well. So let's say google.com versus youtube.com. So this is the same data that we discussed. The last section is the behavior report. So do you want to know what content performs best on your website? So which are the most popular pages on your website? What are the top pages where users land and exit? And how does your website perform in terms of speed? So you will get all of this information in the behavior report section of analytics. And this information will let you optimize your website performance and conversions. So let's say in this example, you'll see that the average page load time is 2.43 seconds, so which might be slightly high. And if you think that it's because of the page load time that users have been bouncing off, then in that case you could try to make minimal changes in the account. So I think we discussed this in our first series where we found that Even if we change the page speed by 1 second, there is a huge difference in the conversion rate. So I think this, I don't remember the exact company name, but when that particular company changed the site speed by 1 second, the conversion rate increased by about 10 to 15%. Site bounce, again, this is a data which is very important, which will tell you whether the landing page is relevant or not. So if the bounce rate is really high, so let's say as a user, I am landing on AFTA page, but I'm just bouncing off from the same page. I'm not even going to any other pages on the website. That means it's an indicator that either I'm the wrong audience or the page is really irrelevant for me. Then I might want to see if I can change anything, if I can make the website more relevant. So let's say if I'm interested only on webinars, then in that case, it might make sense for me to land directly on the webinar page instead of the main home page. So the last section is the conversion reports. So apart from the regular data, so like sessions, visitors, bounce rates, so these are all interesting data that we have in analytics account. But if you are tracking any other activity like sales signups, then in that case you will see that data in the conversion reports. So again, coming back to goals, you can specify all of these goals in the analytics account. So making a purchase, if someone visits a thank you page, sign up an email list, watches a video. So all of these are different conversion actions which can be specified in the Adwords account, and you can have additional information for that. So, and in order to have that additional information, all you need to do is create goals in the analytics account. So you just need to go to admin, click on goals, and then select the different goal types. So it's very simple. There is a template which is already created. So you can choose to have destination specific goal. So let's say whoever reaches the thank you page or thanks.html page, please track that as a goal and show it in the analytics account as a conversion. So every time our user reaches a thank you page, you will get to know that a conversion has occurred or someone has registered. Similarly, so let's say if you would want to check, if you would want to keep duration as a goal. So let's say I value all the users who come to my website and spend about 5 minutes on my website. So then I can specify that, okay, users who come to my website spend 5 or more than 5 minutes on my website, track that as a goal. And you will see that data in your analytics account. Same is the case with pages per visit. How many pages does a user visit in a session? If they visit 4 or 5 pages, that means they are engaging with your content. You could track that as a goal as well. And same is the case with event. So let's say if you have a submit button, if you have a play a video button, so you could track them as events as well. So it's a very simple process. These are the ready to use templates that you have in the Adwords account. But if you would like to use custom goals, you have that option as well. So this is just an example here. So let's say if you had set up goals in your Adwords account, the data that you, in your analytics account, the data that you would see in your analytics account is, let's say you got 95 purchases, 30 signups, 10 downloads, 25 request codes. So this is the level of data that you can expect from analytics if the goals creation has been done correctly. So that was just a brief about analytics reports, the 4 different categories. Please feel free to browse through the analytics interface, use the help center. It has a lot of information. I think the most interesting part is the analytics academy that so we have. So I think I had taken this test about what 1 year ago, so it's time for me to go through this analytics academy again, but this is really helpful. So we discussed about the Adwords reports, analytics report, the consumer behavior site report. So we'll quickly discuss about some of the case studies. We just have 2 case studies here, but you will find a lot more on the website thinkwithgoogle.com, which was shared with you guys earlier. So one of the examples here is for Accor hotels. So over the last 5 years, travel bookings have increasingly shifted to online and mobile formats. So Accor wanted to make sure that its hotels were the first stop in consumers' online hunt for accommodations. So for them, this meant driving increased traffic to the website, increased click-through rate, and also increasing the prominence of its brand. So that was the main goal for Accor Hotel. So what they did is they utilized Google ad extensions. So if you guys remember in the last session, we spoke about extensions like site links, image extensions, call extensions, location extensions. So Accor Hotel utilized this really well and saw an incremental conversion by 14%. So and this is, and like I mentioned in the previous session, so these extensions are all free extensions and will charge you the same as a click, but it will help you improve the performance by 14%, as you can see in Accor's example. So in the interest of time, just moving on to the next one, which is Visit California. So Visit California is a non-profit organization that partners with state's travel industry to keep California top of mind as a premier travel destination. So what they did was they wanted to generate awareness about their brand. So they took over the YouTube masthead for 24 hours and they launched a TrueView video campaign as well. So give me a second. So the result that they saw was 7% lift in consideration and 17% lift in likelihood to visit California. So this data has been taken from the brand lift survey results that we discussed earlier. So they launched the video campaigns and then they send the survey to the audiences who watched, who did not watch the video ad, and this was the uplift that they saw. And they also saw that there was 21% increase in California travel search volume on Google, so which was amazing. So I am totally aware that these are not very Australia-specific examples, but these were the 2 simple examples that I could pick for this industry, but there are many more which you can find in Think with Google. So feel free to use those resources for more case studies. So just want to do a quick recap here. We spoke about AdWords reports and metrics, so which are very simple, which I'm thinking that you guys are already familiar with as well. Analytics, it might sound a bit complicated initially, but then if you keep checking the different categories that we discussed, so it should be much simpler for you guys. And then check the resources and case studies from thinkwithgoogle.com. That's it from my end.
Excellent. Thanks, Lakshmi. We have just a little bit of time, so if you have a question, we might take a couple of those now. So one question is about Google Analytics and how the system determines the user's profile. So how do they know if it's someone that's 25? How do they know if it's a male or a female?
Okay, that's a great question. So it is both declared and inferred data. So declared data meaning that so whenever you log in into any Google property, you sign up and then you tell your age, your birth date. So that's how the system knows that, okay, so Lakshmi is a female within this particular age range. And the second is inferred data, so which means that the system tries to see what has been the browsing, what has been Lakshmi's browsing activity. Based on my browsing activity, let's say if I have been browsing a lot of cosmetic related stuff or lipstick related stuff, so the system will understand that, okay, she's a female. So the analytics pulls this information from the machine learning, both from inferred as well as declared data.
Okay, good answer. Can you advise, or this might be a bit of a blue sky question, but what would the typical budget that a sole trader in a startup online business might need to invest in Google AdWords to have some sort of impact?
That's a very tough question. So for which, so I definitely don't have a short answer. It entirely depends on how niche your business is and what location you are targeting. So let's say if you are targeting entire Australia, then you might need a slightly higher budget. But let's say if you are targeting only New South Wales, then the budget requirement might be low. So let's say if you are a new advertiser and you have never tried AdWords before, then in that case, so it's just my personal suggestion, so nothing from Google. So I would say just test it out with a minimal budget of maybe around 7,000 to 10,000 per month and see how it goes. And it also depends on your goal. So let's say if your goal is just to get as many leads as possible during this period, focus only on the very ROI centric platforms like we discussed, search, remarketing, RLSA. So focus on only these with this amount and see how it works. And so if you, but again, so if you would want to concentrate on the upper section of the funnel, you might need more budget as well. So for a small business like you, I think if I were you, I would do a test with $7,000 to $10,000 budget initially, see how it goes and make modifications accordingly. If it's working well, I can double the budget next month.
And would you also say that you need to have a holistic strategy? So you need to be analysing, well, when people come to my site, what's the length of time they're staying on my site? Are they bouncing straight off? Because then you might need to look at how your website's set up, how user-friendly it is, how they navigate it around the site. So I guess, yeah, how friendly that process is for them to actually convert into a sale.
Yeah, definitely. So though you would get the basic data like, okay, impressions, clicks, you will also get sales data, but you will need to look at the data holistically. How is your user engaging with your website? Are you providing all the relevant information, so right when they land on your page or not? So if they are bouncing off, that means the information that they are looking for is not present there. And in that case, you might have to modify the website. Otherwise, it would be just a waste of click and waste of your money. Yeah, so I would say looking at the data holistically.
And I think there's a really good point to be made here that you have to invest money to make money. But the wonderful thing about digital compared to traditional marketing is that digital can be very targeted. So as Lakshmi was saying, you can specify and understand and target who you want to come to your website, what type of consumer are they, and then track and measure that to make sure that the people coming to your website are actually converting. So the money you invest is actually giving you a really good return on investment. Yeah. And I guess from AFTA's perspective, we promote ATAS to consumers every single day, and the online strategy is very important to us. And just an example, the return on investment for us to display a video on YouTube TrueView is only 7 cents. So it is a really good investment for us. I'll just share some stats with you. In October alone, we had 118,000 impressions of our video ad, but we actually had a watch rate of 27%. So that 27% of that audience actually chose to watch the complete ATAS video, which was around 31,500 consumers.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's working for us. In the last month, we've actually seen a lift of 138% website traffic to the ATAS website. So that's people using the information on our website to find accredited agents, and we actually track the conversion of people clicking on our search map to find accredited agents, and then them clicking on to find a mobile number or go to a participant's website. So we track all that data, and that's 138% increase from the same time last year. So we're employing video and AdWords and display advertising to gain traction and get people to our website. And just one more thing, in our display advertising that we do, we had 1.2 million impressions in the month of October alone. So that's fantastic brand awareness.
That's awesome. Very happy to hear that, Joe. So, but I think one thing that I really want to drill down here is that tracking is the most important thing, because unless you have your goals, your tracking in place, you will not be able to know if your campaign has been successful or not. So no matter what budget you start off with, please start off with a proper tracking in place, whether it be conversion tracking or through Google Analytics.
We have one quick question about how do you go about linking AdWords to analytics, and they might need to call the Google helpline, but I don't know if you can give a quick overview.
Yeah, definitely. So it's very, very simple. I don't have the exact process right now, but you have to go somewhere in the admin section. It will ask you to enter the AdWords account ID. You just enter the AdWords account ID and the account gets linked. So
I think it's on the top right-hand corner, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a setting, you know, the cogs that look like a setting button, and when you click on it, it enables you to link the account.
Yeah, it's a very simple one-step process. So I think if you go to Analytics Help Center and search for link Analytics and AdWords account, you will see the steps.
And we just had a question from Keith. Thanks, Keith, about can these reports show how your company website compares to others in the industry?
So are we talking about the Analytics account?
Well, I think, yeah, the Analytics account.
Or so, okay, so the competitor info, you can get it through Auction Insights report, Keith. So let's say in the example that we discussed earlier, how is your website performing, how is your business performing versus your competitors in terms of, let's say, impression share, average position, top of position rate, etc. And it will, Google Analytics may not show the data for your competitors, but it will show you data for different platforms. So Google versus Facebook, organic versus direct, etc.
Okay, great, thank you.
So while we...
and then just, I guess, a final question before we have to wrap up. We've got a question about if you've had your site developed by a website designer and they actually, I guess, have all the analytics sitting with them, how do you as the client get access to that? I know they provide you with reports, but is there some way that you can have access to your own analytics?
Oh yeah, definitely. So they could add you as an admin, or they could also add you, give access to you as read and analyze as well. So it depends on how comfortable the agency or the partner that you're working with. But they could definitely share the data with you. So by giving you the admin or read and analyze access. And yeah, so does it answer the question?
Yeah, I think so. And in our case, if you have a trustworthy website supplier, they should, and you know, their client, they're your client, you're the client, sorry, and they're working for you, so there should be no problems in them showing that. And I know in our case at AFTA, we have our own login so that we can go and view the results ourselves, but of course it's our company that does the management of our Google Analytics on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, so the website piece and the Google Analytics piece, these are two separate things. So even if your web developer works on the website, Google Analytics account will still be yours. You can still create your own Google Analytics account, which will give you a code, and the web developer will need to put that code, analytics code, on the website. So ideally, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't have the access, but just in case if you don't have, and if your web developer or if your business partner has the access, they can still give you read and analyze or admin access. And so while we were talking about this, I quickly found the steps to link as well, link the Analytics account and AdWords account. So what you need to do is go to Google Analytics account, click on admin, select the property. Under property, you will see an option for AdWords linking. When you click on AdWords linking, it will ask you for the AdWords account. So just add the AdWords account and confirm. So that's very simple.
All right, thanks, Lakshmi. Well, it's 1 o'clock, guys, so we're going to wrap it up there. If anyone has any questions, my name's Jo, so feel free to email me at the world's easiest email address. It's just Jo, J-O, at afta.com.au. Again, jo@afta.com.au, and I'd be more than happy to either answer a question or put you in contact with somebody at Google that can answer the question. So thanks again for joining us for the webinar series, guys. Please fill out the survey that comes into your inbox, and keep an eye out for our communication in the new year about attending a workshop hosted by Google.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.